William, hopefully your favorite videographer from Two Hats Publishing. I welcome you to another Two Hats special of community events. Let's look in and see what's really happening.
And good afternoon and welcome to Lambda Weekly. I'm Dave Taffet here in the studio with Lerone Landis, and the late Patti Fink is... What, Lerone?
She's not coming.
Because?
Because she has some work to do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's one of those days.
Uh-huh.
Work.
Yeah.
Huh. I hate when work gets in the way.
Work.
I hate when work gets in the way. Our guests are Ethan and Lucas, probably our youngest guests ever. How old are they?
4. Say it again.
How old are you? 4?
Yes.
They're shaking their heads. And their dads, Joe Riggs and Jason Hanna, who created and are the chairs party people of the Teddy Bear Party. What is your title? Not that you need one. Founders. Okay.
There you go. Founders.
Good enough. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Teddy Bear Party, and I saw in the green room before the show you were exchanging notes on parenting.
Of course.
Because Lerone is the old lady of parenting.
More experienced.
There you go.
Yeah, he only has one.
I know. You guys got a handful.
Mm-hmm. 2 handfuls.
Yeah.
The Teddy Bear Party. Tell us a little bit about it.
So the Teddy Bear Party, the first one was in 2011. But I guess 2 years prior to that, I was hosting my own Christmas party at the house. But going into this holiday season of 2011, my mom had just got diagnosed with cancer. So in honor of the battle that she was just beginning, I wanted to do something to give her the strength to go through all of the treatments. So we did a teddy bear drive that first year, and I think we collected about 250 teddy bears, and we donated all those to Children's in her name. And unfortunately, she passed away just a few months later. But we continue with the Teddy Bear Party every year. And then even our founders, a handful of our founders have also lost loved ones to cancer. So from that aspect, it has a lot of sentimental value to us.
And it's grown from 250 bears to, I know last year
we donated...
Well, it's a truck full.
There's more than a truck full.
We have to rent a truck at this point.
I think there was a U-Haul there, plus my truck and several other trucks filled to the rim.
Yeah, it was one of those, we rented a U-Haul and I thought it'd be big enough, and it wasn't.
It wasn't.
But I think last year we donated about 1,800 teddy bears on the morning after the event.
And what happens to the teddy bears?
So the teddy bears, so the beneficiary is Children's Hospital or Children's Health, and every child that goes to the hospital there, which is around $2,000-3,000 a month, every child gets a teddy bear or some kind of stuffed animal, and they're used as a comfort tool. So if a child is going through chemo, for example, it's a comfort tool, but it's also for teaching. So if the child is going to go through chemo, they'll give that teddy bear an IV and use it as an example of, okay, this is what you're going to go through. So the teddy bears and the donation to children started out as exactly as Jason explained, but it's also ended up touching us personally because our boys, for various reasons, ended up going to the hospital, and they too ended up getting a stuffed animal, and it makes a big impact. Mm-hmm. The stuffed animal that Ethan sleeps with every night is the one that he got at the hospital. So it's from a personal perspective too. I mean, we know that these make an impact on the kids that go to the hospital. So.
They do. Same here. My daughter was in the hospital, hospitalized for about 3 days when she was 1 year old, and at Children's and got a teddy bear, and it was very comforting.
Ethan, what's the name of who do you sleep with every night? Who is it?
No.
Who is it?
His name is Puppy? Puppy? It's Puppy, right?
You have a puppy you sleep with, right?
But even just from that aspect, like if a child is in a car accident with their parents, and maybe the mom or dad had to go to whichever other hospital, and the child has to go to children's, they could be separated from their parent, and so that teddy bear really it's a comfort tool.
Sure.
And it has a lot of impact on each child.
I mean, a hospital like Children's is a very traumatic place for kids to be very often. Even if their parents are there, it's the first time they're away from their parents. It's
scary stuff.
Okay, so here's my story about buying teddy bears. The first year that we went, Brian was still alive, and we went to one of the Walgreens, because Walgreens always has a good selection of teddy bears before Christmas. So we bought as many as we could carry, and Brian said, but there's still some more left there. So I said, but we can't carry anymore. Plus we have 2 shopping carts that are full. So he said, but what if a kid needs one?
Yeah.
So we bought those, and then we came back and bought some more. And after he died, I cleaned out 4 Walgreens with the teddy bear party last year.
Yeah.
So that's my teddy bear party story.
And so I actually went to the hospital with you guys to deliver them, and I was so struck how happy the hospital staff seemed to be to see you all arrive with those bears.
And it is, and we as the teddy bear party has the largest donation of teddy bears to Children's on an annual basis.
Well, you're supplying a full month's worth, and if those weren't supplied, that would be just money that they'd have to spend that really doesn't add to the care, but certainly adds a lot to the care of kids. So,
Very true.
Yeah.
That's very, very true.
So Ethan and Lucas, do you want to tell us a little bit about delivering the bears? No? but we brought you specifically.
You got to get them warmed up. It took me a minute to get them warmed up. They don't talk.
But we said to your dads specifically, yeah, bring them. They can talk on the air about delivering those bears.
Teddy bear delivery. Maybe we can get a new toy after. So what's your favorite part?
Okay, I love their style of parenting. It's all about bribery.
We save that for special circumstances.
And it usually works.
So what's your favorite part of the teddy bear delivery?
Going into the teddy bears.
And what is the teddy bear?
Jumping into the teddy bears.
Jumping into the teddy bears.
Yes.
We have mountains of teddy
That's
bears.
true.
Right, because when everybody comes to the party and is delivering their bears, they create this big mountain of bears.
It really is.
Yeah.
And I remember them last year doing exactly that, jumping into the bears.
What does a teddy bear mean to a kiddo? What does a teddy bear mean?
It's your face.
No. Is it their? It says a very special teddy bear. Yeah. Ethan, what do you think?
Ow.
Oh, sorry.
Ethan is coloring right now, which makes good radio. So this was an experiment to have younger guests on because our listenership was skewing older.
You were going way lower, way younger to
And do you like the trains at the Children's Hospital? Do you like to see all the trains? Remember?
He's shaking his head. Yes.
Yes.
We'll just use subtitles.
There we
Subtitles?
go. There we go.
Maybe we'll warm up a little bit more.
So in addition to the actual teddy bear delivery, there's a party also, right?
Correct, yes. So
Tell us about that.
So next Saturday, actually this coming Saturday, December 8th, it's going to be at FIG in downtown. And the event is from 8 to midnight.
And FIG is on Ross Avenue. It's right near the Art Museum.
Correct.
Okay, it's downtown. Where do you park?
So parking, the valet is complimentary. So just pull up to the main entrance, and like I said, as part of the teddy bear party itself, just a little bit more insight. The event is underwritten by all of our corporate sponsors and our individual hosts. So 100% of the event is underwritten by all of them. So 100% of your ticket sales goes directly to the beneficiaries that receive the monetary donation. So all the teddy bears go to Children's Health, and the monetary donations are split between. Do you want to go into the beneficiaries now, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who are they?
So beneficiaries include Equality Texas, Family Equality Council, Rainbow Roundup, and the Trevor Project, and Stand Up to Cancer.
Oh, wonderful beneficiaries.
And those beneficiaries have all been selected because they have obviously a lot of impact in the community. But we try to base it around things that were important to, for one, my mom, because it's where the party started, and it was family, equality, and finding a cure for cancer. So we try to keep that with us as we continue to add additional beneficiaries throughout the years.
And it has to do with the life cycle of the kids at Children's, basically. Family Equality Council and Rainbow Roundup both are gay organizations that work with families.
Yep.
So you're a member of it.
Yes.
You both are?
Yes.
We are, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about Rainbow Roundup then.
Well, Rainbow Roundup, they actually were one of the beneficiaries of Black Tide this year. And it's LGBT group for families, LGBT families. They do events all through the year. I think they do something once a month.
Right.
And yeah, that's pretty much all I can tell off the top of my
It's a
head.
great
But
social connection.
It's a great social connection.
Which, some people might think, what do you need that for? You were just saying before the show, Lerone, that Gabrielle is the only kid in her school that you know of that's a child of same-sex parents.
Yeah, that we know of. And that's the great thing about Rainbow Roundup. We had Kimberly on, one of the founders, Kimberly Cantor, a couple of weeks ago, and she was right when she said that, at Rainbow Roundup, when all the parents and kids get together, the kids never have to come out.
Yep.
You never have to come out because everybody there has a similar family dynamic. So it's great for that. Kids can, don't have to explain. They see other kids just like them, and even if you're not a parent yet, it's a great way to go meet other parents, and maybe get advice and network in what you're about to get into.
Okay, so Ethan and Lucas are 4, but they're in school already?
They are.
They
yes.
And do you know of other same-sex parents in the school?
Not specifically in our school. No, it's a small pre-K, but we know there have been other same-sex families that go through there, and they actually have some LGBT folks on staff there.
Oh, okay. So having on staff, that also makes a difference. But they don't have, the 2 kids don't have other kids who have a family that looks like yours.
Not at school, no.
Not at school.
Right.
Yeah.
And just because you know all these other people doesn't mean that they know and that they see that. Have they had to come out yet to anybody?
I don't know. It's interesting because if you talk to them and you can ask them, well, do you have a mommy and daddy? And then what do you guys have? You have 2 daddies, right? And that's just, every family unit is different. And I think that's something that's important for us, that they're educated, that it could be a one mom, a one dad, a 2 dads, 2 mom. It could be grandparents. So for them, they've never learned anything different, that there's just different types of families.
And that seems completely normal to us, that families look different ways. It's not normal to some people.
It's not.
It's not.
And it works for kids. I mean, if kids just say, "Oh, well, I have 2 dads," the answer from the other kid is usually something like, "Oh, okay." But then they go home and tell their parents, and sometimes their parents freak out.
I would say at their school, we've never had any type of negative interaction with any of the staff or any of the other parents. And everybody knows that Ethan and Lucas have 2 dads, and there may be hidden conversations that obviously we're not aware of, but everybody seems very nice and very accepting, and they accept Ethan and Lucas just like any other friend.
Right. Yeah.
And organizations like Family Equality Council, this is what they do. They're focused, and that's why they're one of our beneficiaries, is they're focused on educating folks on that there are all types of families and providing support. And they actually were a huge support when we were having adoption issues initially with the boys, which is so that's how we initially got involved with them. Is they provide resources to LGBTQ families so that they can have families, and as well as to provide. They're an advocate, and they they provide just awareness for, I guess, just general awareness that, hey, there are all sorts of families out there, and they need support too.
I'm looking at the time. We don't even have time to go into this. When you said you had some adoption issues, boy, did you have a judge.
We did.
And we'll talk about that after the break, because you would think adopting your own children was the most horrible thing that any two people could be doing. Before we break, I want to just reiterate, Joe Riggs and Jason Hanna both are with the Teddy Bear Party. Teddy Bear Party takes place this coming Saturday at the Fig in downtown Dallas. Admission is
$50 and a 24-inch teddy bear.
Or a whole bunch of teddy bears.
Or a whole bunch of teddy bears.
Because I always come with a car full, just because. Now, it's valet parking. Will they let me stand there for a while we're delivering teddy bears?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And they will help too if you need help.
Good. And why don't we take our break a minute early, because I want to do their adoption story. It's really bad. Like, worst adoption ever. And it's their own kids. But we'll explain that. You're listening to Lambda Weekly on 89.3 Knon FM. I'm Dave Taffet here in the studio with Lerone Landis. And Patti Fink is off today because she's working.
She is.
She has a new job, so she feels like she has to be conscientious.
Hey, but that job pays. This one does not.
Yeah, that's just an excuse.
Contrary to women you might think.
And we have a live studio audience today. We'll be back with Joe Riggs, Jason Hanna, Ethan, and Lucas right after this.
This is Rollins Gillen, and I'm listening to Lambda Weekly on 89.3, and darn glad to be doing it.
And this is Lambda Weekly. I'm Dave Taffet here in the studio with Lerone Landis. Our guests are Joe Riggs and Jason Hanna. Their teddy bear party is next week, and they're going to collect a couple of thousand teddy bears for Children's Hospital, so that every kid who goes into the hospital for whatever reason, whether it's just a minor procedure or something severe like chemotherapy or an operation, will get a teddy bear for comfort, as well as for to demonstrate what's going to happen to them, because whatever they go through, their teddy bear goes through too.
For people who may not be able to make the party, and they still want to bring a bear, where can they bring it to?
They can reach out to us through the teddy bear website. We've got.
Don't worry, we're expecting noise.
And they can be delivered actually on Friday at the venue, or we'll be there all day Saturday. Or if they want, they can join us for the for the teddy bear delivery the following day, the Sunday morning.
Which is at what time?
So we're going to meet back at Fig at 11 a.m. There's typically a handful of volunteers, 20 to 30, and we count all the teddy bears, we load them all up, and we all caravan to Children's, where they come out and accept them. And then from there we go to brunch. And this year we're going to Gloria's right here on. And then this year, so it'll be here at Gloria's on Lemon and
Awesome.
Wycliffe. Douglas.
Awesome.
Douglas, yeah.
Good. Okay, so
before the break, we were talking about have the kids had to out themselves or have they been asked, whatever. I just remember a long time ago, we had Elizabeth Birch on the show, and that was before I had my child, and she gave the best sound advice. It was so true. She says, as a same-sex couple, you can't be closeted because the kid will out you. And she told a little story about how when they were on the plane and their child was like, mom, and it's so true. I remember when Gabrielle was like 3, took it to the doctor, and her regular pediatrician wasn't in, so we saw one of the other pediatricians, and the lady came in and like, hi, honey, what's your name? And Gabrielle said, I'm Gabrielle, and I have 2 daddies. I was just like, oh, wow.
It doesn't work if you're transgender either. Amanda Simpson, who was Assistant Secretary of the Army for procurement, like her background was working at Raytheon, and she built bombs, things like that. So she's transgender, and she said she was with her 5 or 6 year old kid, and they were at Costco, and her son got online because he wanted a sample of whatever the food was. And so the woman said, well, is it okay with your mom? And her 6-year-old said, put his hands on his hips and just said, she's not my mom, she's my dad. She used to be a man, and now she's a woman. And here's this, really brilliant woman who, who when she's talking Army stuff, it's like way over your head type of thing. And then the kids will bring you right down and put you right in your place.
And that's the beauty of hearing the kids talk about it, too, because it's not complicated.
No,
it's
not.
It's simple, it's matter of fact, and this is just how our lives are.
Exactly.
And it's a good...
Also, to your point, though, like, if we are closeted as a same-sex family and are not proud of who we are as a family unit, then we can't expect our kids to be proud of who we are as a family unit. So it's always very important that, like, we are visible, and if somebody questions who we are as a family unit at a restaurant, like, well, no, these are our kids, we are married, we are a family.
Right, absolutely.
So we always take the opportunity to, hopefully in a nice, polite way, if somebody's interrupting our dinner, to educate them that we are a family. And
now, that's... Do you all get asked, or have you been approached in public?
Yes.
Where are the mommies? Oh, it's dad's night out. That's the typical commentary that we'll get. And I think most folks are sort of fishing and trying. So they don't know how to approach the topic, so they just try to open the conversation. And it tends to be at restaurants where they serve more alcohol when we can approach them and stuff like that. Well, Mexican restaurants with lots of margaritas, we get more commentary.
Well, last week we were at Payway, and this 3 individuals sit down next to us, and it was kind of one of those. I saw them looking at. It was 2 guys and a female, and they were a little bit older, and I saw them. They kept looking at us, and he kind of questioned, and then I saw her kind of walk by, and she whispered something to him, and I think they were trying to piece it together. And then at one point, like, then she addressed us, like, you guys are a beautiful family, you have beautiful kids, and then the guy came up a few minutes later, you guys are doing a great job as a family.
Right.
So it was one of those, like, people try to figure it out, and they do it, and they're like, okay. But we've never had a negative circumstance or negative...
One thing that I think has helped a lot is marriage equality, because it helped give us the language. You can say, he's my husband, without, he's my husband, with air quotes.
Right.
It's very true.
He is, because you got
Or for
married.
some people, if you say, he's my partner, what do you mean, business partner?
Right.
I mean, to some straight people, that really, they don't know what you're talking about.
And it's not just for the kids. I was down in Austin a couple of months ago. My father-in-law was in the hospital. I went to visit him in the hospital. The nurse came in, and he introduced me. This is my son-in-law, David. Just real easy.
Yeah.
Because that's what I am. It's not, this is my, he lives with my son who passed away, who, we didn't have to go into all, this is my son-in-law. The words were there.
Right.
And that makes a huge difference, I
does.
think.
The title is important.
Absolutely.
It's very important.
Yeah. It's more than just the title. It's just having the words without having to explain anything. He's my husband.
That's true.
So that one we heard. Okay. Before the break, we were talking a little bit about your adoption. But you are the biological parents of Ethan and Lucas.
That's
so
correct, yeah.
Explain the whole mess that you got yourselves into.
Yeah. So we went through surrogacy to have the boys, and we're very blessed that the first time we did the transfer, both boys took. So at a high level, we had the same egg donor, and then each of the boys, one's from each of us. So they're technically half brothers, roommates, best friends, worst enemies, fighting and having a great time. But that's when we went to go in. So the boys were born. The surrogate did not. Part of the whole entire arrangement is that she had already signed away her rights as a parent, even though she had no biological ties. But when we went so we took the boys home on day one.
So just to be clear for people who aren't clear on this, because we haven't done a parenting show in a long time.
We haven't.
Even though we have one here. Who
There's, just, a quick lesson. There's 2 types of surrogacy. There's gestational surrogacy and traditional surrogacy. Traditional surrogacy is when the woman who's carrying the baby is also her egg.
And that's what you did.
That's what we did. Gestational surrogacy is what these gentlemen have done, and that is different egg donor, different a woman who's actually
the
carrying
egg is
the baby.
implanted into
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
the mother that's going to carry the
Right. So
Right.
the
Do you
all
call
they
her
just
the mother?
Carrier.
The carrier?
Surrogate.
yeah.
Surrogate.
Okay, so the eggs are implanted, and 9 months later we have Ethan and Lucas.
That's right.
And so Ethan is yours, Jason,
Correct.
and Lucas is yours, Joe. And when I say yours, I mean biologically.
Biological.
Yeah.
Right.
Surely.
So why did you have to go through an adoption?
Because the laws hadn't caught up yet. And so when the boys were born,
And this is before marriage equality, so
Before-
that's part of the problem.
correct. So when the boys were born, the surrogate, who happens to be a black lady, was listed as the mom on the birth certificates, which is also kind of an interesting thing because they were born from her, the boys were also listed as black. And so part of the process is that she was the mother and she needed to terminate all of her parental rights, and we in turn had to legally adopt our own kids. So
Interesting.
You had to legally adopt each other's.
no, our own.
You had to legally
Even our
adopt.
biological. Yeah.
Are
even
you
our biological.
serious?
Yeah. In the
Because
state of
we weren't
Texas.
her-
Yeah. We were not married to her. So that we were just, I guess, in the eyes of the law, just random people, even though we went through and we were biologically our kids.
I thought you all just had to adopt each other's.
No.
So the legal paperwork
Okay.
said Jason and Joe want to adopt Ethan and Lucas. And so we were adopting them, both of them.
Now,
Okay.
the law at the time, because you were not married, in Texas you can't do, and two people who are not married can't adopt at the same time. And that was part of where the judge was having problems.
Well, when we went to the courtroom, we actually took the boys with us to the courtroom. We were expecting it to be a relatively easy process, considering our attorney had done some research, and this was not his first time to do this.
And you did it in
adoption.
Tarrant County.
Yes, because the boys were born in Fort Worth. That's right. So we were.
And we had DNA paperwork.
Yeah, we had-
proving that they are our kids.
Right.
Yeah. So all the paperwork, the surrogacies, the surrogate saying that she was giving up her parental rights, and the DNA evidence, and the judge. She didn't go into any details. All she kept saying whenever we asked any questions, or our attorney asked any questions, is that based on the information in front of me, I just can't get there, which was kind of a non-answer, and it at least from my perspective, it felt like she kind of had her answer down. It was not going to deviate from that, and it was kind of a way to protect herself, because she wasn't giving us any kind of legal recommendation on how to get there or what we needed to do, and it really put us in this weird spot of, okay, so we've got our kids, they're not technically, we haven't adopted them. Like, what does she expect our kids to do? I mean, kids need parents.
Right. So
And
your kids are.
So you got
kids
them an
were-
apartment. We're in Tarrant County.
So legally, your kids were parentless.
Legally.
We had temporary custody of them.
Yeah, but temporary.
Temporary.
So what's the long-term solution? She was not about to even give us an option, or
Well, see, there aren't enough homeless kids and kids that want parents or need parents. So I guess she thought she'd add a couple.
yeah,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
I'm serious. When you have two parents who want to adopt these kids, and there's no reason that you can't. Did you have to go through a regular adoption home
We did.
evaluation?
We had to do the whole home study. I think there was a couple different meetings of her coming out and inspecting our house and where they would stay in their bedroom, and did we have sufficient accommodations. So yeah, we went through that whole adoption process, which obviously the financial impact as well as the emotional
Right, because you
impact.
pay for that.
Right, it's all out of pocket.
Okay, so Lerone, you kind of got around this.
My eyes are totally bugged because wow.
You got around this entirely by
Because I
going to another
another
state.
state. And this is the wrong reason why I said I'll be damned if my daughter is born in Texas. So I didn't know it would be that bad. No, my daughter was born in Maryland, and It was a traditional surrogacy. Immediately, I was listed as the biological father. I am. We couldn't even submit those papers with the judge until 48 hours afterwards. And when we did that, her rights were terminated. And then I think in another couple of days, then the adoption order was signed by the judge, making Danny the adoptive dad, this second adopted parent. But I did not have to adopt my own child.
So, Joe, your first court date was how long after they were born?
2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had temporary custody of your own children for 2 months. Then you had a court date and you were turned down to be parents of your own children. The mother certainly didn't
The surrogate, all right.
want them.
Right.
And that was the agreement. It wasn't that she was this horrible person who didn't want them.
They weren't her kids.
They weren't her kids, and she had done this.
She
only
fulfilled
to
what she
help.
was
Yeah.
asked to do.
Yeah.
So when was your next court date?
Well, it was complete limbo state after that. And actually, yeah, this is probably better told by you.
Well, so, leaving the courthouse, obviously we were in shock. And it was just a random angry Facebook post that I was just in awe that how could somebody deny us parental rights of our own kids. And our community, the LGBTQ community and our family and friends really rallied behind us. And the story went viral, and as a result, it got a lot of attention. But then again, it also put us in contact with the organizations that would help guide us through that process.
Okay, so first bit of advice they got was gay couples do not adopt in Tarrant County. That's changed, but this was 4 years ago, before marriage equality.
Yeah.
So where did you move the adoption to?
So with the assistance and some of the organizations, Equality Texas, GLAD, as well as Family Equality Council,
And Lambda Legal as well.
Lambda Legal, really stepped up and provided the resources and direction, and we went down to Bexar County and down in San Antonio, and it was a much different process. Like, the judge took us into her chambers, and we had the attorney for the boys and our attorney, and it was, do you love these boys? Why do you want to adopt them? They're our kids. And all right, signed off and done. Like, there was never a question.
And the reason, do you know the reason for Bexar County, Lerone?
I've heard that you can judge shop.
You can judge shop,
Yeah.
which means that when you have your case, if only half of the family court judges are open to this type of adoption, you place your case in one of those courts to make sure it goes into the right judge's docket. Now, Dallas doesn't have judge shopping, but what we do have is one family court judge will be the judge that's handling the cases this week or for these few days, and you file your case on one of those days and you get the right judge. But all of the judges in Dallas County now will certainly do any
of course.
kind of adoption.
So how was it that you were able to move it down to Bexar County when they were born in Tarrant?
So what we had to do, because she formally denied our case, in Tarrant County, we had to petition her.
And it's okay, Lerone does that on the air all the time.
Excuse you, Lucas. So we had to petition the judge in Tarrant County to ultimately, I forget the word, but erase that case from her docket.
As if it never occurred.
As if it never came
there's
to her
there's a legal term, I'm forgetting it too.
And so we were.
It's called I'm a bigot, and I'm happy to get rid of that case so I don't have to even admit that gay people were in my court.
That's entirely possible. Well, looking in hindsight, it made me wonder if it would have been a bigger story if she would have granted our adoption, at least from, because judges, that was my big eye-opening moment of judges are elected.
They
It's
are.
that reminder. It is a political process.
It is.
The law is not just the law. And that's what I always thought it was just, you just...
When she told you all essentially no, was it a formal order? Because usually, or an opinion, because usually that comes with some explanation.
No explanation.
just can't get there. Based
just
on the
can't get
information
there.
from me, I just can't get there.
That is
See, part
really
of her
odd.
problem was you were combining a couple of things. And so legally, that's where she was having a problem.
If we probably would have filed it separately, me, Jason, adopting Ethan and only Ethan, she probably would have signed off on that.
And it was only you because she's not admitting that you're part of a couple.
Assume.
Who knows?
Yeah, it's one of those hypotheticals at this point.
Right.
But because we were petitioning it as a married couple, because we were legally wed in D.C. Prior to marriage equality nationwide, we were petitioning it as a married couple, and we wanted to adopt our kids. And so probably because that was looped in together, she found the discretion in which she did not have to grant it.
And Lerone did the same thing because he didn't want Gabrielle to be born out of wedlock. He's very traditional. He wanted her to have this very traditional upbringing with him and his husband.
That was our rationale too. We got married right before the transfer, actually.
We wanted to be legally wed prior to conception.
And I'm joking about it.
I'm not, because we were on our honeymoon, on a cruise ship on our honeymoon, and we got the word that we were officially pregnant. So we did get pregnant on our honeymoon.
Tramps. Funny.
And I'm joking about it, but on Marriage Equality Day, I was down at the Dallas County Records building, and there were so many just really beautiful couples who were there with their kids. And they were there so that they could show their kids, because I asked several of them, why did you rush down? So that they could show their kids they're a regular family just like anybody else.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it does make a difference.
It does.
And it just, Lerone had to go to Canada at the time. So,
He was telling us about that.
yeah. So anyway, Josh is telling us we're jabbering on too long, so we need to take a break. This is Lambda Weekly. I'm Dave Taffet here in the studio with Lerone Landis. The late Patti Fink is extremely late today. And our guests are Joe Riggs and Jason Hanna. They are with the Teddy Bear Party. We'll get back to talking about that because we kind of ramble and meander on this show. And today's a good example of that. Our other guests are Ethan and Lucas. They'll be joining us to chat a little bit in the last segment of the show.
Hi, this is Valletta Lil, and I listen to Lambda Weekly. I hope that you will too.
And welcome back to Lambda Weekly. I'm Dave Taffet here in the studio with Lerone Landis. We're talking about the Teddy Bear Party and parenting and kids, and they are all kind of related.
They are?
Well, they are because the Teddy Bear Party is for kids at Children's Hospital. Joe and Jason have two kids that are here in the studio with us, Ethan and Lucas, who are busy coloring right now and showing their pictures to the microphone so that everybody at home can see them. And we were just talking a little bit about their case to adopt each other's kids because their children were conceived by Immaculate Conception, and one is Jason's, one is Joe's, and they adopted each other's.
Right.
But you did have to adopt your own because you weren't married to the surrogate, and under Texas law, there's no way to prove that because we don't really believe in science here. And you're laughing. That's how our laws are passed because people here don't believe in science.
Right.
But because of that, you have to adopt your own child when you're not married to the surrogate.
And I don't have all the legal background on why, but that is because we went through surrogacy and we were not on the birth certificate.
And actually, some of those laws have changed.
Yeah.
And some of them that relating to the two of you changed with marriage equality under a judge's order.
Right. So any plans for any more?
We'll see how 2019 goes.
Okay.
Because there'll be 5.
There'll be 5. I don't know. I'm open to one more. Joe's a little bit hesitant.
I'm very happy right now.
Gotcha.
Joe likes the man-on-man defense.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So,
Which is?
so there's 2 adults and 2 kids. So he gets, if we're out somewhere, you watch Lucas, I watch Ethan, whomever it may be.
Right.
So you throw a third in the mix, and it's like
We're outnumbered.
we're outnumbered.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're still thinking of a second one?
I am not. Danny, yes. Yeah. So that's Danny, you're me. I'm good. I'm good.
And I just can't imagine. I have enough trouble taking care of myself.
What I can't imagine is having 2 newborns at the same time. Wow. Do you guys have a lot of help, or
Actually, our employers were a huge help as far as giving us time off.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we stayed the first 2 weeks we were home together, and then Jason took the first shift of first 3 months or so.
First 3 months off.
And then I had the next 3 months that I
Okay.
took off, yeah.
And then when they were 6 months old, they're out, they're on their own. They were away at boarding school.
Well, unfortunately, after the 6 months, we had an incredible nanny who stayed with them while we worked until they were almost 3. And then they started school when they were 3, and her and her family are still a huge part of our family.
The boys had a
that's awesome.
sleepover at her house. She's got 2 little boys as well.
Oh,
so
awesome.
the 4 of them are really good pals.
Best friends.
That's awesome.
And how did you do it?
Danny took off the first 7 weeks, and then I took off. He went back to work, and then I took off for another 6 weeks. So about first 4 months, one of us was at home.
And then
And then
at
after
about
that-
6 months is when Gabrielle went off to boarding school in Switzerland.
No, then Grandma came into the picture. Boarding school.
And that's very lucky to have.
Yeah.
This Saturday night is the Teddy Bear Party. Joe and Jason have been doing this since 2011, and actually started it as a home party before that. It's to collect teddy bears for Children's Hospital, Children's Health. They get upset when we call it Children's Hospital. Even though it says Children's Hospital on Children's Hospital, but they still get upset. But it's for Children's Hospital, so that every kid who goes in for any kind of a procedure can get a teddy bear for comfort. Because it's scary for a kid to be in the hospital alone. You have several performers who are going to be there. Tell us a little bit about Brian Justin Crum.
You want to go into it? So Brian Justin Crum, he's probably best known for in 2016 he was on America's Got Talent. But then he's also been in a couple other things, theatrical performances, the We Will Rock You, Queen's theatrical. But it's also just a huge inspiration to a lot of the LGBTQ youth. So we're very excited to have him here this year.
Awesome.
And your host is James Vaughn.
You want to do James Vaughn? So James Vaughn, probably best known for Amazing Race. But he's also been co-hosting a nationally syndicated show called Celebrity Page. So we're excited to have him here as well. He's done a couple other things in terms of appearing on Access Hollywood Live. But like I said, he's probably best known for Amazing Race.
And you have a DJ that's coming in from LA.
We do. Jeremy Blacklow. He's a good friend that we've known for years, but he's also been doing the after party for Black Tie Dinner for the past number of years as well. So we're excited to have him here as well.
The party's always a lot of fun. It's been interesting to watch because you do different venues every year, or just about every year.
Yeah, we try to switch it up every year.
Which is good. So many of the events get stale because it's always at the same place.
Right.
Every year, year after year. So.
And tickets, do you have to get them beforehand, or can you show up at the door and get them?
Yeah, it's best to get them beforehand. The website is teddybearparty.org, so you can buy tickets there, and it's a $50 donation to buy the ticket, and the party itself is completely underwritten. Everything is taken care of. It's an open bar party. We have a vodka sponsor. Vector Vodkas is our vodka sponsor, and we've got Benny Keith is bringing in we got beer and wine as well, and all of the mixers. So everything is free once you're in there. So just bring a teddy bear and pay $50 to get in, to get your ticket. And you want to go through some of the sponsors, because they're the ones that really they underwrite the party and make it happen.
Yeah.
That's one of my hand signals. But it is nonprofit, so the admission to the party is tax deductible.
Yep. So just to clarify, so teddybearparty.org, $50 prior to Saturday. As of Saturday morning, ticket sales close on the website, and you can purchase them for $75 at the door.
Okay.
So buy them early.
Yeah.
request from Ethan to watch TV.
We're talking about the teddy bear party. What's your favorite part of the teddy bear party? The delivery?
Yeah.
Yeah? Well, you have to talk if you want to.
What do you like about the teddy bear party, about delivering all those teddy bears?
You speak up?
Going into the big mountain.
Mountain of teddy bears? Is it a good thing to give teddy bears to kiddos that need them? Yeah?
Do you know what my favorite part is? When we're filling the truck, because you used to do it a little bit earlier. I can't get there because I have to be here in the studio.
Oh, that's right, 'cause I wasn't here last year for that.
Yeah, so,
yeah.
but a couple of years ago it was earlier, and being the human shield for the teddy bears so they didn't fall out of the truck while people are throwing them at you to get into the truck. But like 2 people have to stand there so that they don't fall out until you can pull the gate down on them.
We're getting a bigger truck this year.
Good.
So when you initially approached Children's Hospital and said, hey, I wanted to donate some teddy bears, were they just, how receptive were they?
Very receptive. And the first couple of years, we didn't really have a connection. It was just reaching out to them and saying, hey, this is what I'm thinking I would want to do, and do you have a need for them? And they graciously accepted. But then over the past, 5 or 6 years, my cousin and his husband work for Children's. And very well connected within the Teddy Bear Party Clinic. And so they've continued to be, obviously, extremely gracious and thankful for the donation.
Did they always give teddy bears to kids, or was this something new at the point where you started donating them?
I believe they've always given teddy bears out.
They've always given
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's teddy bears. I think it's any stuffed animal, really, but yeah.
Yeah.
We focus on teddy bears.
Right, but teddy bears work because they have 2 arms, 2 legs,
Yeah.
and
And 2
when
big
you
ears.
but when you're demonstrating to kids, like a dog isn't
Right.
anatomically as much like a kid is going to be, and they use the arms to show them that a needle is going to go in, or if their leg is broken, they'll set the teddy bear's leg in a cast
Right.
too. So they just work.
Right.
They just work.
Yeah.
And I know all the Walgreens they're well stocked with teddy bears for Christmas. So.
Though,
Yeah.
folks, we've had reports of them running out of teddy bears, so buy them early.
Folks like yourself that go in and clear the
And
shelf.
clear the shelves.
Well, 2,000 teddy bears from DFW. That's a lot of teddy bears. So they often run out.
It was funny. I talked to a couple people in prior years. Like, I had to drive to Frisco to get a teddy bear, and I'm like, well, for one, we live in Frisco, so it's not that far. But in terms of like uptown and right here in this area, they do run out of teddy bears.
And it is okay if you can't find a teddy bear. Other stuffed animals work as well, but teddy bears are ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention before the end of the show, World AIDS Day was yesterday. There were like 5 different events this year, which was good because they appealed to different audiences. Like there was one over at S4, which completely had a different audience than the one at Central Congregational Church and the one at Cathedral of Hope. Do you want to know a real wonderful statistic? This came out of the World AIDS Conference. John Carlo, who's the director of Prism Health, mentioned this one. In New York City, and this has been happening around the country, including Dallas, but around the country in the last 4 years, the number of new AIDS infections reported is down 60%.
Wow.
Awesome.
That is awesome.
They credit it to 2 things. One of them is PrEP, which is pre-exposure prophylaxis, and that means you're taking a pill. Right now it's daily, but it actually works if you're not that adherent to it. If you take it a few times a week, 4 or 5 times a week, it still works, which prevents HIV if you come in contact with it. The other one is what they call U equals U.
Yeah.
Undetectable equals untransmittable.
Yeah. I thought it was another word.
No.
Okay. But it is U.
It's U equals U. In the United States, in some countries, like I think in Vietnam, it's K equals K.
Okay.
So, right. But for the same words. But what that means is if you're on a daily regimen of your medication and your viral load count goes down to undetectable, if you're undetectable, you can't transmit it to somebody else. And when they say you can't, they've been studying this for about 10 years now, and there are no instances of people who are undetectable transmitting the disease. Now, somebody who has HIV might become detectable and not realize it because you're tested like once every 3 months if you're in regular medical care and on medication. But you might have the flu or something, and your viral load count of everything goes up.
Right.
And you can transmit. So they're still recommending use condoms.
Absolutely.
Safe sex. It protects you from other STDs as well that way. But that's wonderful.
But that is wonderful news.
That's great.
I forgot what the statistic is for San Francisco. New York being 60%, that's huge. And PrEP is much more prevalent in New York than it is here. But
I wonder if that's because of the cost.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a number of things.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a number of things. Not just cost, but availability. It's become very available here in Texas, especially in Dallas, so that if you want it and can afford it, get over to Prism Health or to AHF or to Resource Center. They all have PrEP clinics, and they can help you get on it. But, I mean, that's... When I say that's wonderful news, that's the best news since 1997 when medication for HIV came out. Mm-hmm. So, and the goal is to end AIDS by 2030. So we'll see. You saw Boy Erased.
I did see Boy Erased.
Which is about?
It's about so-called conversion therapy. These conversion therapy centers they have around the country for parents to send their children to these places because they think it can cure.
And tell Joe and Jason, because we want to convince them not to send their kids. You know, their kids might turn out straight, and that's okay.
Right. Just let them be. They cannot change. But no, it was interesting. I didn't know that it was based on a true story. And it kind of gives a real insight to the horrors of what they send these kids through. Brain work, it's sometimes it's physical beating, sometimes your health, and it's almost like being in prison. And again, I know this is maybe a glorified movie, but still, it was very, very interesting to see.
Yeah, but those things happen. We've had guests on who've gone through conversion therapy. That's exactly what they described.
Yeah, they confirmed it. Yep.
You know, it's brainwashing, and it doesn't work.
No, it's not.
Yeah, we've talked to a couple of friends that have been through it, and it's unfathomable. Like
it is
the beatings, the torture, the locking them in a room like a jail. Like I couldn't imagine. Like
and the parents that pay like $9,000, $15,000 for this therapy that doesn't work. You know, why do they do it?
They, not to defend the parents at all, but they honestly, genuinely thought this would work. That's what that's the mentality they're coming from. They're in a church. They don't know any gay people. Probably don't want to know any gay people, and this is what they're being told. Of course, they're listening to their pastor. This will work, so they listen to it.
Why would you think your pastor would lie to you? No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
I don't go someplace where I think our rabbi is going to be lying to us.
Right.
You know, you go, if you're religious, you go to a church where you believe.
And if that's what they're telling you to do, you do it.
You trust them.
Yep. Well.
So, anyway, so interesting movie.
Yeah.
And in the last minute that we have, Teddy Bear Party, go to teddybearparty.org.
That's right.
To get tickets. It's $50 for a ticket ahead of time, $75 at the door. It's at the Fig this coming Saturday. What time?
8 to midnight.
And the entertainment is Brian Justin Crum, and it's always a lot of fun. This party is just a fun party.
Yeah.
And it's to collect teddy bears for the kids at Children's Hospital. So, good work.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on, Ethan and Lucas.
Thank you, guys.
Say thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Just say thank you.
Just say thank you.
I can't hear you. Louder.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming on.
And thank you for being our youngest guests ever.
Yes.
Next week, our guest is Jessica Gonzalez. She's one of our new lesbians in the legislature. So she's from right here in Dallas. For all of us here at Lambda Weekly, have a good week and be best.